Welcome to the latest edition of International Tax News. I'm Doug McHoney, PwC's International Tax Services Global Leader. In this edition, we cover some of the tax updates happening around the world, including my favorite topic, Pillar 2. If you would like to go in depth on some of these topics and others, check out the Cross-Border Tax Talks podcast, wherever you find your podcast. New Zealand proposed draft legislation on August 31st to introduce a digital service tax, or DST, that would apply to large digital service groups. It imposes a 3% DST on gross digital services revenue that are connected to New Zealand users. The rules are proposed for large companies that have annual global digital services revenue of €750 million or more, and New Zealand digital services revenue of New Zealand $3.5 million or more. Based on OECD progress to date with respect to Pillar 1, the draft legislation has been introduced to enable the government to quickly impose a DST if the OECD is not making sufficient progress. If enacted, the DST would not come into force before January 1st, 2025. Hong Kong plans to introduce a patent box tax incentive in order to provide tax concessions for profits sourced in Hong Kong and derived from eligible IP assets generated through R&D activities. On September 1st, the Commerce and Economic Development Bureau issued its much-anticipated consultation paper on the proposed patent box regime. The proposed patent box regime closely follows the nexus approach promulgated by the OECD. I encourage you to check out my recent podcast with Hong Kong international tax partner Jesse Kavanaugh, on which we covered Hong Kong's foreign source income exclusion regime, as well as Pillar 2. Cyprus, via a recent press statement, has consented to the Pillar 2 transitional country-by-country safe harbor as agreed to by the OECD. Even though it is an EU full member state, Cyprus needed to procedurally consent, given the fact that it is not an inclusive framework member. Also, as reported, the Ministry of Finance is not planning to introduce a domestic minimum top-up tax in the draft law, which is to be released for public consultation. So Cyprus will not have a QDMTT at least for 2024 and potentially beyond. Thank you for reading PwC's International Tax News. I look forward to speaking with you again on PwC's next edition.